Hello there. My name is Dr. Harold Green, and I've spent over 40 years working in senior health and nutrition. I'm 72 now, and while I may have a few more wrinkles and a slower golf swing, I'm sharper, stronger, and healthier than I was in my 50s. But that didn't happen by accident. It came from a lifetime of learning what fuels the aging body, and just as importantly, what harms it. Today, I want to talk to you about something we all do without thinking: reheating leftovers. It seems harmless, right? A quick spin in the microwave and dinner's ready. But did you know that some of the most common foods in your fridge, like rice, noodles, and even baked potatoes, can turn toxic if reheated the wrong way? Now, I'm not here to scare you, I'm here to protect you. Because after 60, our digestive system isn't as resilient. Our heart doesn't like surprises. Our blood sugar can spike from foods we used to tolerate. Our memory? It's more fragile than we realize. And our immune system, our last line of defense, can be quietly weakened by poor food habits. I've seen older adults come to my clinic confused about why they're feeling bloated, foggy, fatigued, or suddenly struggling with blood pressure or cholesterol. And too often, the culprit was sitting right there in their microwave. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 everyday foods that you should think twice about before reheating, and I'll show you safe alternatives that nourish your brain, protect your gut, and keep your heart strong. So, grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's make sure your next meal isn't just convenient, but a smart step toward a healthier, longer life. Now, let's start with a food that's on nearly every table in America: rice. Warm, comforting, and incredibly versatile. But what if I told you that reheating leftover rice could quietly be harming your body, especially if you're over 60? Let me explain. When cooked rice is left to cool at room temperature, it becomes the perfect breeding ground for a dangerous bacterium called Bacillus cereus. You can't see it, you can't smell it, but it thrives in that soft, moist environment. And here's the alarming part: even if you reheat that rice until it's steaming hot, the toxins Bacillus cereus produces are heat-resistant. That means your microwave or stove isn't enough to kill them. As a senior health expert, I've seen this happen too many times. A client tells me they've been having stomach cramps, sudden nausea, or diarrhea. We trace it back to what seemed like an innocent bowl of leftover rice from 2 nights ago. For younger folks, their immune system might handle it. But for older adults like us, our immune defenses are slower. Our gut lining is more sensitive. And a simple foodborne toxin can throw our whole system off balance, triggering dehydration, inflammation, and in severe cases, a trip to the ER. So what can you do? If you're cooking rice, serve only what you'll eat right away. If you must store leftovers, refrigerate them within 1 hour, and never keep them more than 24 hours. When in doubt, toss it out. I always say, food should heal, not hurt, and sometimes, the smallest habits, like reheating rice, can have the biggest impact on your health. Stay with me. In the next part, we'll talk about a knot. Now, let's talk about something that many of us rely on for a quick meal: instant noodles or leftover boiled noodles. You see, instant noodles are typically high in preservatives, sodium, and a chemical called acrylamide. While it might not, beta noodles can produce harmful. This is because when you cook noodles, they absorb moisture and expand, Leftover noodles, especially after they've been cooled and left out, can encourage the growth of bacteria like Clostridium perfringens, which thrives in starchy foods. And when reheated, the bacteria can produce. As we get older, our digestive system becomes more sensitive and our ability to fight off infections diminishes. This means, what's the best approach? Only cook what you can eat in one sitting. If you do have leftovers, store them and reheat them thoroughly, ensuring they reach a safe temperature. Better yet, avoid reheating noodles more than once. Let's keep your meals safe, enjoyable, and most importantly, In our next conversation, we'll explore the dangers of reheating spinach, a vegetable that many consider healthy. Now, let's discuss something that may surprise you: potatoes. They seem so harmless, right? After all, they're a staple in many diets, rich in starch, vitamins, and minerals. But when it comes to reheating and storing them improperly, potatoes can be surprisingly dangerous, especially for older adults like us. Here's the issue. Potatoes are highly perishable and, when left at room temperature for too long, they can begin to ferment. This fermentation process can foster the growth of harmful bacteria like Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium responsible for botulism. Now, I know that sounds scary, but bear with me. When you bake or roast potatoes and then wrap them in aluminum foil for storage, the lack of oxygen creates an anaerobic, low-oxygen environment. This is the perfect breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum. And if these bacteria proliferate, they can produce toxins. These toxins are potent enough to cause botulism, which can result in muscle paralysis, respiratory failure, and even death if left untreated. Now, I understand that a baked potato might be a simple comfort food, but the risks of improper storage can be especially severe for us older adults. Our immune system weakens with age, and our bodies aren't as quick to fight off these types of infections. The last thing we want is a simple meal causing serious harm. So, here's my advice. Never leave baked potatoes at room temperature for extended periods. Store them in the refrigerator within 2 hours of cooking and always reheat them thoroughly before eating. And most importantly, never eat a potato that's been left wrapped in foil for too long, especially if it looks or smells off. Your health is too valuable to take risks with simple things like potatoes. And I want to make sure you're well informed and safe in your meal choices. Now that we've discussed a few foods that can be harmful when reheated, let's turn the tables and talk about some foods that can actually be beneficial when reheated, especially for older adults like us. As I've mentioned before, food is not just for nourishment, it's a powerful tool to enhance our health and well-being as we age. So, let's explore a few foods that, when properly stored and reheated, can offer significant health benefits, particularly for our digestive health, blood sugar management, immune system, and cardiovascular health. First on the list is oatmeal. Yes, that warm, comforting breakfast you may already be familiar with. Oatmeal is one of those foods that gets better with a second round of heat. Here's why. When oatmeal is cooked, cooled, and reheated, it undergoes a transformation that creates a substance called resistant starch. Now, resistant starch is special because it behaves like fiber in the digestive system. It resists digestion in the small intestine and passes into the large intestine, where it is fermented by gut bacteria. This process helps to improve digestion and regulate bowel movements, which is particularly important as we age and our digestive systems become a bit less efficient. Furthermore, resistant starch has been shown to help stabilize blood sugar levels, which is critical for managing and preventing conditions like type 2 diabetes, a growing concern for many older adults. It also reduces inflammation, which is a common issue as we age, and can contribute to chronic conditions like arthritis, heart disease, and even memory loss. So, don't shy away from that leftover oatmeal. Just heat it up and enjoy the health benefits. Next up, let's talk about vegetable soup. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Soup is already a healthy food choice. But the real magic happens when you reheat it. When vegetables are cooked and then cooled, their nutrient content can be enhanced, especially when you heat the soup again. This is because reheating breaks down the cell walls of the vegetables, releasing more nutrients and making them easier for your body to absorb. This is particularly important for older adults who may experience decreased nutrient absorption as they age. Reheated vegetable soup is an excellent source of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which can help to boost the immune system, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. Vegetables like carrots, broccoli, and spinach, which are often used in soups, are rich in vitamin C, vitamin A, and folate, all of which play key roles in maintaining a healthy immune system. Additionally, the warm soup can be incredibly soothing and easy on the digestive system, making it a great option for seniors who may have sensitive stomachs or difficulty chewing. But there's more. The fiber in vegetable soup helps to support gut health and digestive function, promoting regular bowel movements and reducing the risk of constipation, a common concern as we get older. It's also an excellent option for those trying to manage their weight, as the high fiber content keeps you feeling fuller for longer. And with its anti-inflammatory properties, it helps to fight off chronic inflammation that can contribute to conditions like arthritis and cardiovascular disease. Now, let's discuss brown rice, a food that may not immediately come to mind when you think of what's best reheated. But here's the thing. When brown rice is cooked, cooled, and then reheated, it too forms resistant starch. In fact, it's one of the best sources of this powerful compound that benefits our digestion and blood sugar regulation. For those of us who want to keep our energy levels stable throughout the day, brown rice is a great choice. The resistant starch in brown rice helps to slow the release of glucose into the bloodstream, providing a steady source of energy without the spikes and crashes that can occur with more refined grains. This is especially helpful for older adults who may be managing conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure. And unlike white rice, brown rice is rich in fiber, magnesium, and B vitamins, which are essential for maintaining heart health, nerve function, and muscle health as we age. Brown rice is also a good source of selenium, an important antioxidant that can help protect the body from oxidative stress, which can contribute to aging and chronic disease. When reheated, brown rice can continue to support the immune system, digestive health, and even mental clarity as it provides a slow, steady source of energy for the brain. So don't hesitate to prepare a big batch and enjoy it as leftovers. To sum it up, the foods we eat, whether freshly cooked or reheated, can have a huge impact on our health and longevity. By choosing foods that support digestion, blood sugar control, and immune function, we can optimize our health as we age. And remember, it's not just about eating these foods. It's about knowing how to prepare and store them to maximize their benefits. Reheating the right foods the right way can make all the difference in keeping us feeling vibrant, healthy, and full of life as we grow older. As we've just discussed, reheating certain foods can actually enhance their nutritional benefits. But let's take a moment to talk about something just as important: how to safely store food overnight to ensure it stays safe to eat when reheated. After all, knowing how to store food properly can prevent foodborne illnesses and ensure that the meal you're enjoying the next day is just as safe as it is nutritious. Let me begin by saying that temperature control is the key. When you've prepared a meal, it's important to get it into a safe storage condition as quickly as possible. Do not let cooked food sit at room temperature for more than 2 hours. Bacteria, including harmful ones like Salmonella and E. coli, can multiply quickly in the danger zone between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This is especially important for older adults like us, who may have weaker immune systems, making us more susceptible to foodborne illnesses. To start, if you plan to store food overnight, be sure to cool it quickly. Divide large portions into smaller containers. This helps the food cool down faster. For example, if you have a big pot of soup, spoon it into several smaller bowls to speed up the cooling process. This reduces the amount of time your food spends at room temperature and keeps it safe. Once cooled, the next step is storing it properly in the refrigerator. When it comes to containers, choose airtight ones. Airtight containers help to keep food fresh, reduce the risk of contamination, and prevent odors from mixing. I recommend using containers that are made from glass or BPA-free plastic, as they are safer and won't release harmful chemicals into your food. Label your leftovers with the date and type of food, so you know exactly when they were cooked. Eat leftovers within 3 to 4 days of cooking, while we may be tempted to keep food in the fridge for longer. It's best to consume it within that time frame to avoid any risk of spoilage. After that, if the food isn't eaten, it's safest to toss it out. Remember, when in doubt, throw it out. Now, here's a tip that many don't consider when storing cooked food. Store food at the right temperature. The refrigerator should always be set at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius. If you don't have a thermometer in your fridge, I highly recommend getting one. It's a small investment that could make a big difference in food safety, especially as we get older and become more vulnerable to illnesses. For some foods, like soups or stews, it's a good idea to store them in a deep container to ensure that the food cools evenly. For items like meat, pasta, or rice, you can store them in shallow containers, which will cool faster and more evenly. The idea is to make sure the food cools down to below 40 degrees Fahrenheit as quickly as possible, ideally within 2 hours. And don't forget the power of freezing. If you know you won't be able to eat your leftovers within the 3 to 4 day window, it's best to freeze them. Freezing can extend the life of most cooked foods for up to 2 to 3 months. But keep in mind that not all foods freeze well. Foods that have high moisture content, like fruits or cooked potatoes, may become mushy when thawed. So, when storing leftovers for the freezer, make sure to label them with the contents and date, and defrost them in the refrigerator rather than at room temperature, which can lead to bacterial growth. When you're ready to reheat your food, here are a few tips to do it safely. Reheat food thoroughly to at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure that any potential bacteria are killed. If you're using the microwave, stir food well to ensure even heating, and make sure to use a food thermometer to check the internal temperature of the food. This way, you can be confident that the food is both safe and ready to eat. Lastly, one thing that's easy to overlook is food hygiene during storage and reheating. Always wash your hands thoroughly before handling food, and be sure to clean your containers between uses. When using the refrigerator, make sure to keep raw foods separate from cooked foods. It's always a good practice to place raw meats in the bottom drawers of your fridge to prevent any juices from dripping onto other foods. By following these simple yet effective food storage and reheating practices, you're not just ensuring the safety of your meals but also helping to preserve the nutritional value and flavor of your food. As we get older, our bodies need the best fuel possible to keep our digestive system working well, maintain strong immune function, and support our heart health. So, be mindful of food storage, and remember that your safety and health always come first. With these helpful tips, you can enjoy your reheated meals with confidence, knowing that you're doing what's best for your health. Don't let food storage be a source of worry. Take simple steps to keep your food safe, and you'll be rewarded with meals that not only taste great but also contribute to your well-being. As Dr. Harold Green, I've shared with you today some critical tips on food safety and how our eating habits can significantly impact our health as we age. One of the most important takeaways is that proper food storage and reheating can make a huge difference in our well-being. Foods like rice, pasta, and even vegetables, if stored and reheated correctly, can provide lasting health benefits. On the other hand, mishandling foods can lead to serious health risks, such as foodborne illnesses or even long-term digestive issues. It's essential to remember that how we store our food, whether it's cooling it quickly after cooking, using the right containers, or setting the refrigerator at the correct temperature, can prevent harmful bacteria from growing and help us maintain the nutrients in our meals. As we get older, our bodies become more sensitive, and the importance of food safety becomes even more crucial for maintaining digestive health, heart health, and overall vitality. I encourage you all to apply these practices in your everyday life. Make sure to store food properly. Avoid reheating unsafe items, and be mindful of the temperatures at which you keep your meals. By doing so, we can enjoy safer, healthier meals and live our lives with more energy and peace of mind. If you found this information helpful, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Senior Moments Matt. I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts on today's video in the comments below. And feel free to ask any questions or share your own personal experiences with food safety. Your health is in your hands. Let's take care of it together.